Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda commences tonight's Satsang with a Sanskrit peace chant.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
And now, a bhajan by Sanchari.
रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम 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 भज प्यारे मन सीताराम 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 भज प्यारे मन सीताराम जय जय रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम ईश्वर अल्लाह तेरो नाम सबको सन्मति दे भगवान ईश्वर अल्लाह तेरो नाम सबको सन्मति दे भगवान रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम मुख में तुलसी घट में राम जब बोलो तब सीताराम मुख में तुलसी घट में राम जब बोलो तब सीताराम जय जय रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम कौशल्या का वाला राम दशरथ जी का प्यारा राम कौशल्या का वाला राम दशरथ जी का प्यारा राम जय जय रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम बंसी वाला हे घनश्याम धनुषधारी सीताराम बंसी वाला हे घनश्याम धनुषधारी सीताराम जय जय रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम पतित पावन सीताराम पतित पावन सीताराम
We are recording from the ashram of our revered Guru, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda in Miami, Florida. Today is July the 8th, 2018, Sunday evening, and tonight Swamiji will be lecturing on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This is series 2018, class number 8. And now, Pujya Atman, Shri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 2, that is entitled Sankhya Yoga, the Yoga of Wisdom. In 34th verse, Akirtim chapi bhutani kathayishyanti te vyayam sambhavitasya chakirtir maranaditi richyate. Through the ages, people will speak of your infamy. For one who has earned so much fame, infamy is worse than death. It was. You have the storyline where Arjuna, the whole story behind him, how all this battle was evolved to lead the Pandavas to attain victory. Pandavas are on the path of Dharma. And all were focused on Arjuna. Arjuna was the central personality. But without leading you into that story detail, the essential point here is, soul within you is Arjuna. And you have brought to yourself big battlefield. The world process. You have no choice. You don't like the world. Find it full of pain. You don't follow the formula, no pain, no gain. You simply want to run away from the pain. You have no choice. Now coming to more broader, profounder level, soul embodied as a human being, that's the most blessed development. Manushyatvam, mumukshutvam, mahapurusha samshaya. 3 points are considered the most blessed. Manushyatvam, soul to be in human embodiment. Because it's human embodiment, you have human brain. Animal embodiment, you are working only on the level of instinct. In human embodiment, you have a special faculty. You can make changes in your karmas. It can go both ways, positive, negative. Coming back to that point, human embodiment, that's a great attainment, great boon. Having developed human embodiment, next point, mumukshutvam, developing hunger for attaining liberation, aspiration to become fulfilled. All the resources you have, and have fulfillment by utilizing the resources. But in order to do that, you have to have a guidance. Mahapurusha Samshaya. So, be having human embodiment, having the right type of aspiration, and having the guidance of Satsanga. If three things are great opportunities for every soul who is in human embodiment. Having come to this stage, if you do not accomplish the purpose of your life, then that's what the scripture is speaking about, infamy. It's not so much what people will say, but you yourself will experience hellish conditions. But also is a practical reality. When you experience negativity, you draw negativity to yourself. And you have to develop many ears. I'm talking about these ears. to hear different commentaries about you from different people. Once you are in a negative position, and when the people start talking against you, they impose upon you things that you cannot ever imagine. It's called apakirti. Living a life of apakirti, life of this infamy, for a person who has all the potentiality to attain liberation, going to that way where you just live a life of regret within yourself and people dumping upon your head their commentaries about you. This form of infamy is worse than death. Death itself is not a real source of misery. If you understand in a profound way, your body-mind set is like a robe given to the soul. Just like as you grow, or you don't have to grow, but you go on changing your clothes. If one cloth becomes old, torn, you throw it away. You put on another. Vasansi jiranani yatha vihaya. Similarly, soul goes on shedding embodiment to get into another embodiment. That's a profounder reality that one must understand. You have not come into the world just by accident, for the first time, but you have been in the world all the time. Never for a moment can you take away yourself from the world. You have to figure that out, mathematics. Things cannot come out of zero, you see. And if you do not attain liberation, you continue to move from embodiment to embodiment. Attaining liberation is the goal of life. And every soul is equipped with resources for attaining that goal. Not utilizing the resources Even when you are given all best circumstances, Krishna is your chariot driver. In a storyline, Arjuna was helped by so many great personalities to attain the position where he was. And now, if he backs up from the battle, the storyline, there will be tremendous apayash, infamy. But you must realize, storyline is always allegorical. The purpose of scripture is not to introduce to you a history, what happened 1,000 years ago. It has nothing to do with your life. But what is happening in your day-to-day life, and how can you live your life with a better understanding, with the awakening of inner strength, that is the purpose behind this teaching. Sanskrit word for fame is when people praise. That's always is very inspiring. When you see so many people are influenced by your goodness, that's a divine ideal. But when you see so many people are praising you because they are afraid of you, because you are bully-headed, that's called demoniac. So two types of kirti. Sukirti, praised by good personalities, and it's divine. Dushkirti, negative type of fame, which is under so many restrictions and conditions with a demoniac purpose. Simple way to understand, live a life where you create a situation that people do not go on reminding you of your negativity. That has a great impact on your mind. And how can you secure that? If you are really good and go on working for unfolding, allowing the goodness in you to blossom, then you will draw to yourself that type of atmosphere. And there will be negative people talking of negativity, but that will not hurt you. Rather, you will have a challenge how to turn the negative personality into a positive person out of love. So that's the real glory of life. Sanskrit word kirti is kirati. Hindi it is defined this as kirati. Ki refers to kriya shakti, your active potential within your soul, the soul that brings you into action and works out amazing attainments, that kriya shakti. Being devoted to that kriya shakti and awakening it, that movement is kirti movement. Rati, that time rati means devotion, being deeply inspired by that movement, enjoying that movement. Success leads to success. Once you enjoy success, that encourages you to have more success. That movement is kirti movement. Anything that opposes it is a negative movement. Now, to understand in a more profound way, how much kirti can you gain? The reality, if you attain self-realization, you are no longer individual personality. How much kirti a wave can get? It can get the kirti of the whole ocean because it is nothing but the ocean. So from a state of mind that always views you as an individual, allow that enlightened mind that understands that individuality is an illusion. Think of reflected sun in a jar of water. Reflected sun views itself as an individual caught in a strange circumstance, frightened by every little thing that moves in that water. But what is the reality of that reflected sun? The sun. Same applies to every individual, and that's the message behind all the religions of the world. I am that am I. And attainment of that is liberation, kingdom of heaven, nirvana, whatsoever name you give to it, salvation. So therefore, the message of this verse is, don't live just to die. Creating negative karmas. Because if you have misused or did not use your resources, that becomes a basis for another embodiment, and it is a restrictive basis. You are backed up by negative karmas. Infamy will give you death after death. So therefore it is worse than death. Upanishad calls it Atmano Jana. It's a very gross word is used. One who does not attain liberation is a serial killer. You come into an embodiment and you kill it. Go into another embodiment and you kill it. Come into third embodiment, you kill it. So, not to be too upset by all this negativity. Try to understand and move towards positive. Bhayadranadu paratam mansyante tvam maharatha yesham cha tvam bahumato bhutva yasyasi Raghavam. The great chariot warriors will think that you turned away from this battle out of fear. Those who hold you in high esteem will look down upon you. Follow the storyline, but it's allegorical. Life is a big battle. In this battle, in old style battle that was called Chaturangini Sena, 4-aspected army. What did they contain? Those 4 points: elephants, horses, chariots, foot soldiers. Your personality has all these 4 points. It is a Chaturangini Sena. Elephants are profound feelings, devotional movement. If you have real love, it moves like elephant. Therefore, in Indian literature, loving personalities are described Gajagabhini. They move like elephants. And horses relate to your senses, and mind and senses. They are constantly taking you in different directions. And that is controlled by dhyana, meditation. So first one was bhakti, second one is dhyana. Dhyana controls the horses. And jnana movement is the whole chariot called Rath. Ra is fire within you, the energy that is dynamic. It can lead you to Tha. Tha is something permanently established. I led you to something different. It's called a Sthita Prajna, where you become absolutely. So that's why the whole personality of a human being in jnana, wisdom-based movement, is described as Rath. Senses are the horses. Mind is the reins by which the horses are being pulled. Intellect is a chariot driver. The soul is being driven by this chariot. You are having a good trip. Better still. Driver is not a drunk driver. The driver is Krishna within you. And the soul has aspiration. And horses are all mind and senses under control. So it is totally a different setup. That's Rath. And foot soldiers, they represent karma. So bhakti, dhyana and karma. Devotion, wisdom, meditation, action. These are Chaturangini Sena, the 4-aspected army. Bhayadradu paratam mansyante tvam maharata yesham cha tvam bahumato dritva yasyati Raghavam. The great chariot warriors will think that you turned away from this battle out of fear. Those who hold you in high esteem will look down upon you. What the message behind the verse is, course, two aspects. You enjoy the story. Arjuna, if he were to run away from the said that even the enemies will look down upon him, and among the enemies there are not enemies, great personalities, Bhishma, Drona, they love Arjuna. But those who have studied Mahabharata, Arjuna's role is to fight and express his strength even against his teacher, Dronacharya, grandfather, Bhishma, and they want him to do so. If someone is teaching you a wrestling match, he wants you to give him a pulio. And greater is your strength, more happy he is. So, running away from the world, that's not recommended by, or that's not in accord with great teachings of the scriptures. So therefore, people who, referring to Arjuna, those who hold you in high esteem, because all people were waiting how this great personality, Arjuna, is going to handle this battle. It was not ordinary battle, it was battle to allow dharma, righteousness, to conquer over unrighteousness. It's allegorical battle. It's not, don't put in your mind a real terrifying battle. The scriptures have nothing, that message then is not the intention of the scriptures. It's always allegorical, because this is human psychology. When you want to give something important, you want a person to remember, if you put a battle in it, in the story, that will stick to your mind. Sages who gave the highest wisdom, Upanishads, etc., they didn't describe the battle as it is described in Ramayana and Mahabharata. But those teachings are brought for the masses with colorings. And now you enter into a whole royal conspiracy and many things that keep your mind in suspense. Never run away from battle. What does it mean? Continue doing sadhana in daily life, no matter what circumstances. And understand any challenging situation has been presented by God for enhancing your sadhana. It has not been presented to you to take you away, but that will require your understanding behind it. दुख में सुमिरन सब करे, सुख में करे न कोय. जो सुख में सुमिरन करे तो दुख काहे को होए. Hope you understood it. Meaning is, in adversity, everyone turns to God, "Oh God, relieve me of this. You are very kind, compassionate. Let me not suffer." And when God relieves you, then you don't turn to God. You turn to the market, to the monkey business. So when there is sukh, happiness, mind does not go towards God. If you could adjust that point, not only you should turn your mind to in pain, but learn to turn your mind in joyous condition. You will be surprised. Pain will not come to you. Jo sukh mein sumiran kare, if in happy condition, your mind, the more happy, the mind becomes more devoted to satsanga. That happiness is sattvic happiness. If you develop that type of psychology, dukh kahe ko hai? If you live a very healthy life, how can disease go after you? And if you say, well, in the battle, one may die as well. If you have followed the right course, done sadhana in your life, death doesn't hold a pathetic situation. Your progress, in brief, your progress is not stopped by death. Your progress continues. If you are born again, you will come with whole wisdom of Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bible. Just like geniuses come with music, with mathematics, with science, even in early days. Similarly, you will be genius in sadhana. So it is not a pathetic end of your life. So that point has to be kept in your mind. Sadhana does not remedies you of the ugly view of death. Rather, death becomes a gateway to something profound. Thirty-sixth verse. Avacyavadanshya bahun vadishyanti tavahita nindasta tava samarthyam tato dukkha taram nukim. Your enemies will speak disgraceful words against you. They will ridicule your heroism. What can be more painful than this? It's just extension of the same points that I have been telling you. That if you do not utilize your resources and put yourself in a negative way, negativity is just like creating a low pressure. Whenever in atmosphere there is low pressure, storm builds up. In every level, negativity, you bring your resistance down. There's a whole storm of germs. They go after you. But you have all the resources to build up a mind that will not be shaken by negative circumstances. A baby who looks at the eyes of the mother is not shaken by the terrifying situations. Simple example. Mother, it seems herself may be terrified. Maybe is the heart. हतो वा प्राप्स्यसि स्वर्गं जित्वा वा मोक्ष्यसे महीम् तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः. If you are killed, O son of Kunti, you will attain heaven. Heaven here relates to a positive development. Let me explain to you. Whenever we in scriptures you hear the word Swarga, meaning heaven, it relates to a state of astral experience, subtle experience where there is a lot of enjoyment. But it is a transient condition. After, led by your good karmas, you come to that stage. And having enjoyed intense pleasure in a subtle way, you are born again. But if you are born after having enjoyed Swarga, you carry some fragrance of Swarga with you. And that goes on. That's not the ideal. The ideal is to aim at attaining liberation, moksha. Heavenly pleasure is called bhoga. Bhoga is enjoyment, that's not the goal. One should not be lured to do sadhana because there will be lots of pudding and Kshir Sagar, the whole ocean of Milky Ocean will be there, and we will have no problem with calories because you will not have physical body. That's the description of heaven. We enjoy. In human embodiment, heaven and hell both are limited. You cannot have full heaven or full hell. The nervous system controls it. Go beyond certain level of pleasure, your heart will fail. There's so many stories of how a person comes giving the very happy news that someone has won a big lottery. And the person hears it and he becomes so surprised he dies. So your nervous system doesn't allow you to be happy beyond certain limit. Similarly, your nervous system doesn't allow you to suffer beyond certain limit. The moment it happens, you become unconscious. But after death, your body is not going to help you. If you have opened up a lot of heavenly karmas, the enjoyment will be intense and you continue to enjoy it. That's called heaven. The body is not restricting you. But then only restriction is it will come to an end. It has a proportion, certain, led by karmas, you have been given 1 ton of happiness. And it will leak out and fail. And you are here again left empty. Another, if you have done negative karmas, hellish karmas, he will be given a ton of poisonous drink. Drink that every drop will give you a lot of pain. And you will have no choice. So go on drinking it. Because body is not there to restrict it. Pain after pain without any gain. That's hell. In human embodiment, both points come. Led by good karmas, there are pleasant conditions. That pleasant conditions is always under limit. Similarly, painful conditions, and your body limits it. Now, the profounder message behind it is neither go after pleasure nor pain. Go after serenity of mind. That movement is going after bliss, ananda. Ananda is not pleasure, it's beyond pleasure. So, if you are killed, O son of Kunti, you will attain heaven. If you attain victory, you will enjoy dominion over the earth. Dominion over the earth is allegorical term. Being really the ruler over the earth is the biggest curse. But dominion over earth means all earthly problems will not touch you. All mundane experiences will become little waves. You will be the ocean. Therefore, stand up, determined to fight. That's the message of the scriptures. Uttishtata jagrata. Wake up, arise, and have that firm determination that I exist to attain God realization. Sukh dukhe same kritva labha labhau jaya jayau tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsyasi. Maintaining a balanced mind in pleasure and pain, in gain and loss, in victory and defeat, engage yourself in battle. Battle is sadhana. Thus you will not incur sin. And sin here refers to the world of ignorance. The Sanskrit word for sin is called pap. Pa is progress, life's progress, feet movement. Pad, pa. Aap, I'm giving you broader meaning. Aap here refers to the water. When you walk, you don't go into the water. Your feet movement encounters a big lake or ocean and you begin to sink. Pap movement is putting you away from a joyous ride, joyous movement in your life. Letting yourself entering into a puddle. So, spiritual sadhana and bringing all those 4 points in your life called integral yoga. Serve, love, meditate, realize. Serve is karma yoga. Love, bhakti yoga. Meditate, Raj yoga. Realize who you are essentially, that's Jnana yoga. This, be involved in this form of integral movement. Also it is understood in another poetic way. There are 4, you are like a veena, a musical instrument. And there are 4 chords: reason, will, emotion, and action. These chords are strings. They must be in such a harmony that they create beautiful music. And that aspect is called sur. Be in tune with the music of the universe. But if you are discordant, your intellect goes one way, your emotion goes another way, your action goes another way, and you have no meditation, mind is just distracted, then the music that you create is called asur. It's a demoniac music. You are out of tune. So continue to battle, luchando en la vida. But have a veena in your hand. With inner melody going on with it. Integrating the 4 aspects of your personality. If you do so, you will not incur sin. There will not be that muddy puddle before you. It will be straight path. It is further described in another scripture that if you harmonize in that manner, the path that you follow becomes a royal road. Even if you have closed your eyes and just dancing over it, you have no problem. It's a mystical road, not our road like this. You do that, you will not survive. 39th. Eshate vita sankhye buddhir yoge tvimam shrinu buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi. O Partha, Partha is name for Arjuna. This is the wisdom of Sankhya. Sankhya refers to wisdom, Jnana Yoga, which I have given to you. Now listen to the wisdom of yoga. Here in this, wisdom is described in 2 aspects. Sankhya relates to theoretical understanding. Yoga relates to putting that understanding into practice. Everything has a context about it. Some other scriptures use the word jnana and vijnana. Jnana, to know what, through your mind and intellect. Vijnana, put it into practical. So Sankhya is to know. What we should know? insight into the fact that you are soul, not body. And that soul is immortal. It's a non-doer. It doesn't create any karma. It doesn't have to create any karma. The sun has nothing to gain from the earth planet. It simply shines. And it is the source of all positive movement in your life. Solar energy is the source of all positive movement. Similarly, the soul within you is inspiring you constantly to harmonize, to integrate your personality, create your beautiful Veena, and move towards God realization. Now, let me give you insight into these 2 points. Theory, what's the theory of Sankhya, wisdom? Firstly, soul is immortal. Infinite, indivisible. There is no problem for the soul. Just like the sky is there. All things go on. The sky doesn't get a scratch. The soul within you is like that, essentially. And body in you is not going to stay with you. It's one of the most deceptive help the body gives to you. It's not be body. Keep your body healthy as long as it is there. But don't get too attached to it. Always understand this is a natural. Staying in the body forever, people may think it's the greatest blessing. But only a mind that has lost all thinking power can think that way. So it is a spiritual attainment is not a bodily attainment. Body has to move away. And that one must not hold in the mind. Mind should be free of the pressure of the demand of the body. Continue to hold the body, feel the body as a temple of God. This is God given. He gives, He takes it away. That's up to Him. And third point, importance of your swadharma, the duty that comes to you naturally in your life. You come in the world already in divine way. You have been already strung, threaded in such a way that you like to flow into a certain type of job joyously from your heart. To understand swadharma and paradharma, there's a simple way to understand. Swadharma is, suppose you feel happy teaching others in any level as a teacher. Then even in difficult circumstances, you will not leave your job because that job is constantly relaxing you, is benefiting you, enriching you. And even the idea when will I retire from the job will not arise. Swadharma movement is that type of movement. Paradharma, your mind has gone into research. Where will I get quick money? Even though the work you have to do is nasty, full of problems, but to keep a fox with you, the foxy mind, to handle it by hook or by crook, as long as the money comes. That whole process is paradharma. Paradharma brings lots of pain and sorrow and misery. And life becomes filled with all that if you are pursuing paradharma. You end up showing big money. People say, oh, how successful he had been. But that's a different matter. What you are, how do you feel, doesn't depend upon how people view it. So don't go after that. Now the message behind all that is not to become too involved with calculating, am I doing swadharma or am I doing paradharma? Turn your mind to God. You are in God's hands. Certain things have come in your life. You are in a particular office doing a particular job, no matter what it is. Let me do it as worship of God. Let me do it the best. And when you do it, you discover how your cells within your brain become bright. You feel joyous. A project that has become successful brings a special energy to your heart. So do not be in contradiction with the works you are doing. So much so, people who do not have that deeper maturity, they are always in contradiction. Food has come, everything you are chewing, you are cursing it. You end up with indigestion. Every work you do, you are looking for the defects behind it. You end up being annoyed and tired and exhausted in the night. Next day, your mind goes, will I make this day a good day? And so forth. I'm just giving you details. But that, all this is normal to all human beings. But your discrimination has to rise and help you in everyday life not to lean towards paradharma, understand how to be performing swadharma, how to be more in harmony with things that you are doing. You are attending on someone, be joyous. Do not start saying, if my old father or mother has been in a better health, it could have been so good. I'm joking. Rather, how gracious. God has allowed me to give me the situation to be of service to those who have served me for such a long time. And what I pay to them is very little. See the attitude change. With swadharma attitude, you are inspired. With paradharma attitude, perspired. So with swadharma attitude comes another step. And that step is Chitta Shuddhi, heart becomes purified. Your goal is nowhere in the world, called Nishkamya. You do not look for fruit of your karma, but surrender. Simply do the karma, detach from the fruit of karma, that's called karma yoga. And what you get by that? Closeness with God. And that is much more than all the fruits of karma can give you. And with this I'm going to conclude. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभम् अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरम् अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभं कौन कहते हैं भगवान आते नहीं कौन कहते हैं भगवान आते नहीं तुम मीरा के जैसे बुलाते नहीं तुम मीरा के जैसे बुलाते नहीं अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरम् अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभं कौन कहते हैं भगवान खाते नहीं कौन कहते हैं भगवान खाते नहीं भेद शबरी के जैसे खिलाते नहीं भेद शबरी के जैसे खिलाते नहीं अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरम् अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभं यनं जानकीवल्लभं कौन कहते हैं भगवान सोते नहीं कौन कहते हैं भगवान सोते नहीं माँ यशोदा के जैसे सुलाते नहीं माँ यशोदा के जैसे सुलाते नहीं अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरम् अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभं कौन कहते हैं भगवान नाचते नहीं कौन कहते हैं भगवान नाचते नहीं गोपियों की तरह तुम नचाते नहीं गोपियों की तरह तुम नचाते नहीं अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरम् अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभम्.
Thank you, Sanchari Devi. While you are waiting for your food to come and enjoying it, I would like to share with you a reading from our newest book, Mystic Pathways Through the Bible. Those of you who come regularly and are not new this time may recognize this reading. I admit I chose to read it again in the spirit of what Swamiji calls Gada Parinyaya, that we need to have the truth repeated many times until we assimilate it. And this is a particularly beautiful teaching of Lord Jesus. I think we need to hear it more than once. This chapter is called Love One Another as I Have Loved You. The quote is from John, "A new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you. By this shall all men know that you are my disciples." And let me continue with Swamiji's commentary. The movement in divine love must be twofold. internal and external. Internal disciplines, such as meditation and prayer, according to your own religion or faith, should be practiced regularly in order to awaken and nourish love for God. But equally important is the attention you give to how you interact with other people around you. If you truly love God, then your love for Him expresses itself through loving kindness towards His whole creation. In other words, love of God does not involve merely closing your door and practicing your own personal spiritual disciplines. It implies an ability to express a divine feeling within your heart towards others, an ability to assert the power of love over hatred, an ability to wait and watch, and an ability to do little things in day-to-day life that carry a fragrance from heaven. And what are those little things? In the words of St. Francis of Assisi, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. It is the little things that one does day by day that are like jasmine flowers. Though they are small and delicate, they carry a rich fragrance that sweetens your life. If your actions promote harmony, peace, and joy, then you are praising God and serving Him through your goodness to others. Even the smallest type of action, such as making another person more comfortable or less afraid or more cheerful, becomes a form of prayer. Prayer that is active and dynamic. Prayer that has true depth and meaning. When you express your love for God in this way, you become a great practitioner of nonviolence. In spite of negative situations or external provocations, you continue to assert your goodness. As a result, you see negative people transformed into positive, inimical into friendly, demoniac into divine. To the extent you are able to contribute to that movement, you experience a majestic revelation in your life. A saint perceives all living beings as his neighbors and spontaneously performs actions for universal welfare. For you to grow in saintliness, the great ideal of loving your neighbor as your very self must always be kept before your mind. Imagine the difficulties others must handle. Help them with sympathy and compassion. It is a great spiritual art to place yourself in the shoes of another person. As the heart becomes increasingly purified, your feelings are no longer cramped by anger, hatred, and selfishness. Therefore, you understand people deeply and help them effectively. When you cannot tolerate discomfort and pain within yourself, you find a remedy. Similarly, feel the pain in others and find a solution according to your capacity. Qualities such as charity and compassion should not be limited to your family. Those qualities should be extended towards all. If your magnanimous feelings remain limited to your friends and relatives, then those feelings become polluted. Water that does not flow becomes stagnant. Nothing purifies the personality as effectively as the performance of actions for the benefit of others. The Mahabharata states, virtuous deeds directed towards others are the essence of righteousness, while mistreatment of others is the essence of unrighteousness. Never procrastinate on following through on kind thoughts or ideas. Respond quickly from the goodness of your heart. On the other hand, postpone your negative reaction to circumstances. If you have suddenly developed some type of dissension with another person, and your mind plans to sharply criticize, hesitate. Say, tomorrow I may write a harsh letter to that person, but for now I'll just wait. In this type of practice, mind gains amazing powers of forbearance and patience. In normal human relationships, if someone does something good to you, you feel very joyous and in turn respond with kindness. That is only normal. However, the goal of spiritual movement is not mere normalcy, but a supernormal pursuit of divine perfection. Thus, if someone has attempted to harm you or cause pain, reciprocate with sincere goodwill. And if the opportunity arises, do something that will inspire the person. That is the ideal aspiration. The moment you begin to follow that ideal, you are treading the path to becoming as perfect as God. I'll read you another. I think Swamiji, they're so busy eating. A little bit more. This section is called Bless Them That Curse You. Bearing insult and injury requires constant vigilance and is a great aspect of sadhana or spiritual discipline. Urging his followers to emulate the perfection of divine love, Lord Jesus states in the Sermon on the Mount, and this is a quote from Matthew, I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you, that you may be the children of your Father who is in heaven. For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust. For if you love them that love you, what reward have you? Be you therefore perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. This ideal may seem impossible to most people, but when your goal is to attain enlightenment, the virtue you practice has to be extraordinary. The normal, ordinary virtue is to love someone who has been good to you and to hate the person who has harmed you. To aspire to be a godlike personality requires that you practice virtue of a different type, to be as perfect as God. Lord Jesus reminds us how God allows the sun to rise on the good and evil alike. If God were sentimental, imagine how things would be. If he felt that you were not following his commandments, he might withdraw the sun one day and allow it to rise only for those whom he recognized as good. But that is not so. The sun shines upon all. Those who condemn God, as well as those who praise him, find the sun flooding into their homes whenever they open their windows. The air tenderly enfolds everyone. Oxygen enters your nostrils whether you hate God or not. Therefore, if such is the nature of God, such should be the nature of his devotee. Strive to be as perfect as he is. To be perfect implies that even if you are placed in an adverse situation, your mind will enjoy the sweetness of divine love. Although you may be treated crudely, inwardly you are unaffected and inspired to bless the person who wrongs you. In the Vedic scriptures, the metaphor of sandalwood is often used. If you strike a sandalwood tree with an axe, you will find that the sandalwood responds by imparting a bit of its fragrance. Such is the nature of a saint. That ideal must be kept before your mind so that your personality may bloom into perfection. But when you do not hold that ideal, you live in the world of ignorance, where revenge, ill will, and irrational hatred abound. In that world, life becomes shallow, religion a mockery, and prayers hypocritical. When you act on the basis of an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, and long to see your enemy crushed, your mind becomes degraded. Perhaps you quarreled with another person and he spoke harsh and hostile words. Later you hear that he slipped on a banana peel and has broken his legs. So you say, "How wonderful!" That kind of reaction makes you imperfect. If you hold that hostility within yourself, it erodes your vitality and harms you instead of your enemy. Such thoughts lead you to a lesser, degrading state of existence, and eventually to lingering unhappiness. There are many such inspiring words in this book. And it's good that we hear them again and again and again. Somehow we forget. I know you're still eating hungrily, but this is a time that Swamiji has allotted for questions. Any questions that you have? So please feel free to raise your hand and we'll bring you the mic. Remember, this microphone is active only at the only when it's on.
Only at the tip of the microphone. Don't be shy. If you have a question, raise your hand. It will benefit all of us. Your question and Swamiji's answer.
Om Tat Sat, Swamiji. Could you speak about the difference between pure awareness, the self with a capital S, and Jiva, the soul?
Pure awareness is like a sun. Jiva, the soul, is a reflected sun in water. Jiva is what you experience through the mind. Mind is like water. Through your mind, what you understand about yourself. Who am I? That soul is determined by how the mind is. But the soul within you is in reality the sun. So figure that out now. The answer lies in that understanding.
And so the self,
If the soul is not gripped by the negative mind, then the same mind, when purified, enlightened mind will reveal the real I am in you is not your ego. Your ego doesn't go even while you are in sleeping. It runs away like slippers. The real you is the divine self. The reality of any reflection is the sun. So that's the difference. As long as you view yourself through the mind, the limited concept that Jivatma, the individual soul, that moves from part to part. But when you attain realization, then you begin to understand that Jivatma, the reality of your soul, is absolute self. That absolute self is the reality of all souls. So in a way you are with all people. The sun is behind all souls. If you are the sun, you are with all.
thank you.
Okay.
I'd like to thank the people who have prepared the food that you're delighting in right now. Our master chef, very humble, Mrs. Rajneesh, has made the rice pulao, and the meatball sabji. Yes. He's following in his footsteps of his guru. Swamiji, before you all knew him, most of you, used to cook all the food for our satsangs. Like when we had our dinner lecture evening, we were sous chefs. The karma yogis were sous chefs. We would chop things.
Now I've become lazy.
Well, some of the, he's not lazy at all, but some of the disciples felt, well, he had cooked for us for so long. That means dal, sabji, papadum, everything. He cooked everything for us. And so you missed out by not being as old as I am. You missed out. So you didn't have the prasad from Swamiji's hands, but those of us who cook in his stead try to cook as lovingly as Swamiji did, and pretty much learned his recipes. So I'm sorry that you missed that, but I know you're enjoying the food that you have. The rayata, the yogurt preparation, was made by Malini, her family from Texas, visiting us. And Vasudeva brought the dessert, and Shankara and Prabha made the salad, I'm quite sure. And let me take a moment, just before Swamiji came out, I did let you know our schedule. And if you forget when we have our classes, you can look in the inside back cover of the magazine you received when you came if you're a newcomer, or go to our website, www.yrf.org. The initials for Yoga Research Foundation, yrf.org. And our schedule is there. But in brief, Swamiji's with us every night except for Monday and Thursday. The next class coming up will be on Tuesday and Wednesday. That's Yoga Vishishta at 7:30. And then on Friday, the Ramayana, St. Tulsi Das Ji's version of the Ramayana. And Saturday, we have pranayama exercises at 7. And then Swamiji joins us for guided meditation at 7:30. And on Thursday, when... Yes. PM. Did I say AM? No. I do things like that all the time. Yeah, PM. Yeah. All of our classes with Swamiji are in the evening. And on Thursday evening when Swamiji's not here in the lecture room, there's a discussion group that meets at 6, from roughly 6 to 7, giving people an opportunity to talk about the teachings and share their ideas and generally solidify their thinking just by discussing with other like aspirants. And everyone's welcome to join. That's at 6 o'clock on Thursday evenings. And we have in 2 weeks from today, we will be celebrating Guru Purnima. That's a very special holiday. And that will be on Sunday, July 22nd at 5 p.m. And that's a holiday most of you know is a time to just rejoice and be grateful for the teachings of Guru, of all gurus, all great masters, and just rejoice in their presence and their teachings. So we'll be doing that, hopefully with all of you if possible, on Sunday, July 22nd at 5 p.m. And one more quick announcement. There's a mysterious Twitter universe. And for a long time, we were able, without people having Twitter, through Twitter mobile, to receive a wonderful message from Swamiji automatically every morning in your smartphone or any phone that can receive those messages at 6 a.m., just automatically leaping into your phone to start you off with an inspiring day. And then Twitter mobile deserted us, and unless you have some kind of a Twitter account, you can set your phone through your computer. I wish I were a better geek. You can set your phone through the computer to receive the message with very simple commands, and then you don't have to carry the app anymore in your phone, and you can get that. But if you have a Twitter account in your already, then you can receive Swamiji's message automatically through the Twitter account at 6. And people who are better geeks than I can explain that to you. If you're interested, I recommend you speak to Shreya. Shreya, raise your hand. She's a young but highly talented geek who's trying to explain to me how to do this process so we can get the message back again easily. So please join us as often as you can. We're blessed to have Swamiji with us. He doesn't travel, he's just here. And that's a blessing, an incomparable blessing for any ashram, and it's very rare. So take advantage of it and join us, please. And now, Swamiji will conclude with prayer, and then we'll all receive Come for Kumkum blessing. If you're still eating, you can sit on the couch and complete your dinner.
Prayer for health, long life, peace, prosperity, enlightenment for all of you, for all the world. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukum Vabandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Mritam Gamaya Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Hari Om.